we're so oppressed and all that stuff. It's always gonna be about your fucking mentality in this fucking world
No, I
and
get
where you are in
no,
a
but it's not
mental
mentality.
place.
Look, what you call it? I did a TikTok on it before. It was like a clip of I don't know what you're on the bitch from fucking PragerU. She's like African. She's not even black. And then you know Candace Owens, yeah. And they were talking about
Yeah.
you're talking about the victim mentality in the black community and stuff. And I was like, and I pulled up a bunch of statistics of systemic racism, for example, black people affected by COVID, black people affected by this and that and the other, like, and all of this like compiles onto like black women in poor communities, right? So they can't really take care of the child because they have like so many other problems, right? So much like systemic racism piled onto them, right? And so hence they have to get an abortion. That's the only way. Otherwise, they're just going to
Yeah, I
add
just
to
see
it.
that as a scapegoat though.
It's not a scapegoat. They can't really raise that child right. It's like every child. Like,
Honestly, put it like this. My mom came to America like when she was 15. She had her first kid when she turned 21, her second kid when she was 30, which was me.
mhm.
She raised the both of us a single mother. She could have just had an abortion and just call it a fucking day.
I know, but your ma, you see, where's she from? You said she came to
She's
America.
from Costa Rica, but mind you, Costa Rica is indeed a freaking predominantly black place. Where
Yeah,
she's
yeah.
from, it's a predominantly
But
black
that's
place.
that's
She
that's a
came from there
different.
to
It's that
here.
no. It's just she is disconnected
But like
from like the black ethnicity.
you also have to understand that she's been here since she was 15. She has had enough time to understand how America
Oh no,
works.
of course, yeah, but like she's still disconnected because for black people, that's why they call it like soul food, soul this, soul that, because they feel connected to like their ancestors and stuff. Like they're like a whole collective kind of thing. They feel the pain of their ancestors like through themselves, and your ma is disconnected from that. That her group of slaves that she comes from isn't related to the slaves that were brought to Mississippi and places like that, and
Yeah,
Louisiana.
but the slaves that were brought in Jamaica and all that stuff were still being treated like shit just as equally as American slaves. That's the one thing that nobody really talks about.
Yeah, but the
Now, the
separation
one
caused them to
difference,
have different cultures and different
yeah, of
upbringings.
course. Now, the difference is, yes, the freaking cultures and different upbringings, and we were taught differently, but we are still low key, like high key, we are low key the same person. Like, you can't just say a black person from
Mm.
Costa Rica
But
can't
there's a
relate to
certain,
a
I
black person
understand, yeah, yeah,
from
what you're saying. There's a certain level of still like understanding, like you had a struggle, we had a struggle. Like I get that, like right,
yeah.
yeah, that makes sense.
But the whole point of it is like I believe that everybody's gonna struggle.
Mhm,
Everybody's gonna struggle.
mhm, of course,
Everybody, even you.
yeah.
I don't see it as, oh, you're white, so you will never understand, bro. Man, fuck that shit. You can go through poverty just like I did.
No,
It
but
won't
like
matter.
white people generally, right? It's no, it's like look at the correlation. White people are richer, they get less abortions. Black people are poor, they get more abortions. You see how their wealth factor correlates. Your man might have been an exception because it's not like a one size fits all kind of thing. It's not like oh. Everyone who's black has to have an abortion, and everyone who's white. But generally speaking, it's like more white people,
Yeah, but
less.
that I feel like that was also due to the fact that when abortions first came out, they were advertising it more towards minorities than
Oh, that's
anyone else.
interesting. Who was advertising it? Do you think? I didn't hear about that.
Um, the it was the same lady that created the Planned Parenthood
Oh, I don't know. Is
movement.
she a Democrat, like a Republican? Like what is she?
She was well, she's died. She died now, but she was a Democrat at the time.
She was a Democrat at the time. I wouldn't know about that much, but like, why do you think that happened? Is there like a grander agenda or something? What do you think they're trying to achieve
Um,
with that?
it
Like,
was
what's the
mainly
end goal?
because the end goal for her was the idea of she was afraid that white people might get wiped out
Mhm.
because it could happen.
Mhm.
White people might get wiped out due to the growing population of blacks.
Mhm.
So her goal was to separate the family home
Yeah.
and disrupt it completely.
This is what I
So
don't
if you
get.
take the
Yeah. Go on. Finish it
so
now.
if you take the fathers out black homes, right? You'll have kids growing up without a dad, and
Mhm.
then you'll have kids
Mhm.
growing up saying, "Damn, I ain't got no dad." But these niggas over here selling drugs, making money,
That's
taking care of themselves and their family. So I'm gonna go follow them, and then they get caught up in
yeah, you
gangs
got
while
it.
the
So
gang
you agree.
members
So you
start
agree
speeding and
now
all that.
with me that both the Democrats and Republicans are racist,
Oh yeah,
really.
of course.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
So what you call it? So that's a direct result. That's what you call systemic racism. It directly
yeah,
leads into
I
like
completely agree
generations
with
being
you
born.
on that part, but the reason why I'm say I lean more towards Republican is because Republicans, even though there are like I feel like there are a handful of racists in the Republican Party,
Yeah.
they still have the idea of making America a freaking like making America's government smaller and giving the people more power
But what
in a
about, look,
sense.
listen, because I'm a leftist, I don't want to make the government smaller. I want to make it like non existent, right? What do you think? Because there's so little black people in the leftist movement in America. What do you think scares them away? Because
It's the
it's,
fact that the leftist side is so hell bent on socialism and communism, kind of.
yeah, but like,
We're like,
why don't black people like fuck with that, as you said? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what's,
because we've seen it firsthand done on multiple countries, and it never works anyway.
oh yeah, but that's communism. Like, look, I'll put it to you
Soviet
this way.
Russia,
Yeah, yeah, no, like
socialism
that's,
too, socialism too.
there's
Think about
libertarian.
it.
You have to remember there's
Venezuela.
libertarian communism, or sorry, socialism, and then there's authoritarian, which is communism, right?
All
And you
right,
know, but
explain to me
yeah,
what like socialism is to you.
right. I'll explain it to you. It's just weird because like there, if you look at socialists, like the race of socialists in America, they're as white as the fucking line that divides the road, like you know
Of
the two
course.
fucking lanes, man. So it's a bit odd. But look, I'll explain to you what it is, right? So it's like let's say the workers own the means of production. You know what that means, right? So there's private
Yeah.
property. There's private property, which is factories that are owned by wealthy business owners, and then there's personal property. It's your fucking toothbrush or your like dildo or something like
Yeah.
whatever the fuck I don't know, your
Yeah.
phone, and the personal property is produced by private property, right? The private property produces the personal property. So if you get rid of that middleman, the business owner, kick him out, which means getting rid of the government, the people would replace him. So now they own the private property. Now it's public property, and they use it to produce the personal property, a la your phone, whatever the fuck. You know what I mean, right? And that involves getting rid of the government and getting rid of the current police force. Even though, like I said, it can still exist under, you know, whatever the fuck. You know what I mean? Do you get me now?
Yeah, but what a lot of people and a lot of people in America are mainly afraid of with that idea is the fact that it can really instantly, like in a snap, turn corrupt.
Turn corrupt. Who'd corrupt it? Do you think?
Anybody could corrupt that.
No, like
Because
who?
all
Because
you need is
it's a
just
co-op
one
system.
person.
It's a It's a direct democracy, which means that every single position currently
Yeah, but
always
all you
switches.
need is one person to say, "Yo, I'm gonna do this. Y'all cool with that?" And
No.
then everybody, and I could just make it sound like it's a good thing, and then
Oh
everybody
yeah,
will be
yeah, no,
cool.
no, of course, yeah, but then like that person by the law of that society would have to fuck off after a certain amount of time, so they wouldn't have enough time to be able to install a certain kind of fucking like you know bad political thing like you know like Trump tried to do or whatever like overthrow democracy. It wouldn't really happen. It wouldn't really you know go down like that.
I don't think Trump tried to overthrow democracy. I just thought he was crazy.
No, but what about
I
Jan
just thought he
6th?
was bad.
What about January
Huh?
6th? What about
January 6th was just a bunch of dumb people being dumb.
no, but like it
I
was
could say the
obviously more
same
than
thing
that.
about what about the George Floyd protests and riots? A bunch of dumb people being dumb.
But George Floyd. It's not about George Floyd. They didn't really care about George Floyd. It's just they were fed up with like this injustice and
But the thing
all of
is,
that with the
one thing
fucking
I
their.
didn't like about that whole situation, even though it wasn't about George Floyd, it wasn't even about black people in general.
Hmm.
Reason why I say that is because when you say Black Lives Matter, then it should all matter. Then we should talk about every death that black people have suffered, even at the hands of other black
Oh,
folk.
so is this the argument then? Like, but black people have suffered like abortions, right? And that counts as a black death, and so.
I don't really care about that
No,
shit
no,
though.
because no, because Kanye
But
said
yeah,
something about that.
a
And
lot of people do use that argument for an argument, but I'm like, abortion. That's a whole
yeah,
like
it doesn't
it
make
should be a
sense
whole own
because the
section.
baby isn't born yet, so you're not killing the baby if it hasn't been born yet. You know what
The
I'm
whole
saying?
idea is, well, with me, I see it as I understand where they're coming from because I could squish a fucking bald eagle egg and I can go to jail for that.
Hmm.
or I
Well,
have to pay a
but
fine.
that's popped. That's already like came out of it. Like it's already alive inside the egg. It's just fertilizing or whatever the fuck. I don't know what the right word for it is. Like
Yeah, but like
sun
in all
damage.
honesty, you have to that egg
Because the
had to
feathers
be
protect
fertilized.
the eagle and
The,
it's like naked.
like for example, did you know that birds can just lay eggs
Yeah, I did. Like by an
without
accident.
it being fertilized? So if I squish an egg and it's not even fertilized and I still go to jail,
Well, I think
then
that's a
it's like
problem with the laws. In like, it's like, what do you think? This is a really interesting question. I think. Do you think this should count as double murder? Like, let's say I kill a pregnant woman. Should that count as double murder?
it should count as first degree and second degree murder.
First degree and second degree murder. But in some states, they give him a harsher sentence and then say that it's like double murder. So they give him two charges of
I
first
completely
degree murder.
understand where they're coming from because you also have to think about the families that are grieving over the loss of a pregnant woman,
Yeah, 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 yeah. But she was
you
intending to
know.
carry that child. It depends on whether she was intending to carry the child. If she was not intending to carry the
Well, it
child,
depends. It does depend on whether, like, when you say pregnant woman and the guy murdered a pregnant woman, I'm thinking like this bitch was pregnant for 3 months straight.
oh yeah, like she has
Already
like the
got the
fucking
fucking
the yeah yeah
sonogram.
no
She
no
got a
no yeah
bump and
yeah yeah
everything,
yeah no 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 I get
and
you I
she
get
just
you.
got
Like
dropped out of
that, no, that
nowhere.
should definitely count because she's definitely intending it at that point. Usually women get an abortion before it starts like growing and all of that fucking bollocks. Like even the late term ones or
But
anything
in the
like that.
sense of like she's like 2 weeks pregnant or something, and she's like iffy on whether or not to keep the kid. I don't know. It always has to depend on the situation and how she died
Here,
and
mate,
the way
go
she.
back to the thing you said about the small government, though. Why do you think small government is better than no government slash
Because
big government?
a small government, because I strongly believe a small government is better than a big government because a
Or
big
sorry, like a
government is e-
no government, because I'm not in favor of a big government either. But like, why do you think a small
oh
government is better than no
well
government?
it's better than no government because when you have no government then you won't have any like, how do you say, it's okay to have a little bit of a leadership, just a
Mm-hmm.
little bit of a leadership, but at the
Mm-hmm.
same time giving the people the power to choose who that leader
Oh yeah,
becomes.
but that's direct democracy. Like if it's a socialist society, then everyone gets to choose like who a leader is for a certain amount of time. And it like uh, sure as a country like that was established, it was called the Free Territory of Ukraine in 1919 or something, but it was overthrown by like the Red Army, and that worked pretty well. Like there was obviously like a head of like the army and defense, but the government
and
ran
and yeah,
democratically.
that's another thing about the and the reason why they fell, I kind of like peeped that, but the reason why they fell is because the government is the ones that are low key. I'm the type of person where I would like have a small government but leave them in charge of the military,
Uh huh.
let them fund the military, because one thing about it is the world will change always.
Mhm.
You'll always need a military to protect yourself. It's like being in a room full of people with guns and you're the one guy without a fucking gun. It's
Mm.
stupid.
Do you think like what you call it like all this LGBT discourse affects like black people in any way?
Of course,
Like in what way?
in a very negative way, because mind you, black people are already
Well,
suffering.
I think everything
In,
affects black people in a negative way in America, to be honest with you. But like, yeah, what are you saying?
yeah, but like in a very negative way because black people are already suffering from fatherlessness homes,
Mm-hmm.
and what that's kind of like. I'm first of all, I'm totally fine with gay people. I'm totally fine with straight people.
No, but like I mean,
I
like
don't care
trans,
what you
because
do.
that's the new thing is like attacking trans people, right? That's like the new thing.
Yeah, and I don't really care for trans people. My only rule is don't teach that to my kids.
Mm-hmm. But like they
Like,
always get fearmonger about people teaching it to kids, but it never really like happens in schools. I don't really see it. Like I read
yeah,
the
because we
news.
keep stopping it.
Mm-hmm. No, but
We
like
keep stopping it.
children, I think, should know about certain things so that they're more open minded about other people, not just themselves, so that they don't
Yes
grow up to be hateful.
and no, because here's the problem with that.
Mm-hmm.
I believe here's the problem with that. When you do that, you kind of begin to like have kids that are just growing up worried about offending other people and getting offended
Oh no,
easily
of course.
themselves.
But you should know
So
what is offensive to people in order to not say it. It's pretty easy at that point. You don't really have to fear or anything, if you know what is bad and what isn't. You wouldn't make
and
fun of someone with Down syndrome.
it's not it's not like, oh, we hate, a lot of people hate fucking trans people. It's more like, all right, you're trans, that's cool, but I don't think it's right for my 4-year-old kid to know what a trans person is.
Well, like,
Like,
do you
can
think
we
it's alright
wait
for them
that
to know
out?
what a gay person is?
Like, I'm the type of person where I want my kid to be a kid. Like, I
Oh
don't want
no,
my
no,
kid to worry
I
about
understand where you're coming from.
sexuality.
It's just that since I'm not
Yeah.
from America, in Ireland they're really chill about that. Really, like I found out about trans people when I was around like 9, 10, 11 ish, kinda, and that didn't fuck me up. I was just kinda since there's no hate or anything about it, no fucking sound or anything, like make people making it. I was just kinda Caitlyn Jenner was a
Yeah,
man and
no, me
now
too.
she's a
I
woman.
learned about
Whatever.
trans people when I was like 9 or 10, and
Yeah.
but the thing about it was I didn't learn it from school. I
Yeah.
learned it because I had friends who had friends or family members who were gay or
Oh no,
straight
they
or
told us about her in school.
bisexual.
Like they said, like she won some fucking like I don't even know some medal.
She was an Olympic
Yeah.
gold medalist
Something
when she
about
was a
that.
man, and
Something
then she
about that.
turned her
Yeah.
gender.
And then we all the kids were like, "Yo, what the fuck? She was a man and now she's a woman." And then they kind of explained it, the teacher, whoever the fuck. And then we were all just kind of like, "Meh, whatever." Like sure, because there's no hate
And then
around it.
another problem with the trans community that they don't want to point out is they want to introduce
Yeah.
um trans surgery to kids,
Oh no,
and
but that's
that's where
that's
I'm like,
impossible. I think physically you can't actually do sex reassignment surgery on children because
yeah,
the
but
fucking
they
genitals
do
are.
want to put children on hormones and all
Oh,
that
hormone
stuff too.
blockers. I talked to a
Yeah,
fella about that. Basically, what hormone blockers are, it started off as a treatment for early onset puberty, right in the 70s, right. So
yeah.
like kids who hit puberty early, getting back on track. That's literally it. So they're reversible, effectively. They can literally just what you call it. It's so that you stay on them for long enough to make up your mind about sex reassignment surgery, and then once you have enough money, you can get it. You can pay the whatever grand it
Yeah,
is.
but there is a downside to hormone blockers and all that stuff too. You still have issues, and there's still like a lot of scientific issues with hormone blockers that scientists have not even like gone fully into yet. That's the
Oh,
downside about it.
of course.
Where it's
Like,
like, if you're giving this to kids and you don't know what it fully does in the long run, then why the fuck are you telling us, yeah, you should definitely give this to your kid if they feel like they're a female or a male? My thing is, I'll raise my kid. When I have a kid, I want to raise my kid normal, normal as hell. Have them have a normal ass childhood until the point they come out to me and say, "Yo, dad, I'm gay, I'm straight, I'm bi, whatever the
you
fuck,
wouldn't
I'm
mind that though,
trans."
no?
I wouldn't mind it. I wouldn't mind it. Like, I'll
That's
just
cool.
tell them, "Yo, all right." Depending on their age, I'll tell them, "Yo, all right, cool, that's fine, but wait till you're 18 and then tell me how you feel."
Yeah, no, but like that makes sense. Like, you know what I mean. But all of these people peddling like all the anti-trans stuff, it's a shame to see that some of them are the same people who are black and are like have like anti-black politics, like Candace Owens. A lot of them are grifters. You say you're more to the right, but it seems like all the right wing like black people are all just grifting. You know what that means? That means like doing their shit for money, basically. Just
Yeah.
running their
I mean,
mouth.
I've watched Candace Owens a lot and all that stuff, and I feel like she's not really against black people in a sense. She's more of, she understands the struggle that black people go through, but she also understands that it's not completely at fault of a race thing.
No,
Because
but
one
then
thing
like
about
that's
it, what
playing into white people. That's why white people like her so much, as in like the
no,
Republicans.
playing into white people would be saying, yes, everything is race based.
Not
Because
entirely.
one thing about it that I peeped was Morgan Freeman once said
Hmm.
this: racism only exists because people keep stoking the fire. People keep bringing it up.
No, he said
People
people
keep
keep talking
saying,
about. No, he said it exists because people keep
yeah,
talking about it. But look, how would
yeah.
if let's say we stop talking about climate change, which we do, let's be honest, and world hunger, it won't go away. It'll still be around.
Yeah, but that like that I feel like that's the left's whole tactic of life. Oh, just because you stop talking about it doesn't mean it's gonna go away.
Yeah, it doesn't.
I mean, during the 90s and 80s was the most like universally like when America was all together, like, and nobody talked about race. Absolutely no
For
one.
example, even if
Nobody
you stop
brought up
talking
the
about
fact that you were
racism,
black or white.
wait, hold on, mate. I even like look. If you stop talking about racism, right? That's a different thing. But you can do that. There'll still be like groups of people that are racist that are now like just out there running free because
Then
you're
fuck
not
them.
calling them out. You're not calling them out. You can't call them out because you have to not
That's
talk
the
about
thing.
race now.
Fuck them. Because when you keep talking about it, then it's gonna call the attention to them.
Oh,
Then
but they
more
don't.
people
No, but
who
they
are
don't talk about race. They talk about, for example, they're sneaky. They don't say black people are bad. They say black people commit, 50% of the crime despite making up 13% of the population. But we're not racist.
but that is actually facts
Oh
though.
yeah, but
They're
they
just
they
saying
they
factuals.
they want no, but they twist the facts in a way to say that it's because they're inherently violent, not because they're poor. They don't believe in that. They don't believe that poverty
Oh no,
causes
I feel
crime.
like Candace Owens is one of those people
Oh
that
no, no,
believe
no! I
that
don't mean
yes, it
Candace
is.
Owens. I mean people way more like radically right than her. It was a governor. I think he was the governor of Texas. He said like a speech. It was like he was calling I think Reagan or something. I forgot. He was calling someone. It was a phone conversation that was recorded, and what you call it from like the 70s or 80s or 90s, I don't remember. And he said, you start off with like, you can call him the N word or whatever, it's grand. You can't do that anymore. You start like going abstract, talking about redline and talking about this and billing and until you're not even bringing up race at that point. They talk about shit that affects black people, that they know affects black people. They never say the word black. And they can say, we're not talking about racism, we're smart. But then they do shit that affects black people on purpose, because that's the sneaky thing. And I think the
But
leftists
yeah, I
are
feel
the
like
only
it's
people calling them out.
I feel like it's the same thing with the left. Like they do shit that do affect black people in the long
But
run.
they don't want to harm black people, I don't think, at all.
Oh yes, they do.
Like, well, wait, like, what do they want to do that
not
harm
even
us?
not even in the sense of they don't want to harm black people. They want us to harm ourselves. They want us to destroy
Like,
ourselves.
what, do drugs
And
or something? Like, baby mamas, whatever the fuck the
no,
peddlers.
it's basically just I put it like this. If I were a freaking government official, like top dog, like nobody could touch me type shit,
Yeah.
how would I
Your
go
shit don't
about
stink like, I guess. How would you do
yeah,
what?
like how would I go about destroying a community of people? First, take separate their families.
Hmm.
Take their families out the homes. Take away their jobs, take away their dad's jobs and make them force them to have no choice but to either get a shit job or go sell
Oh no,
drugs.
you're confusing. You're talking about the Democrats. They're not like the left. The Democrats are still right wing. They're just more left wing than
Is Democrats
Republicans.
considered like right wing to you
What? Wait,
guys?
what?
Wait, Democrats considered right wing to you
I'm
guys?
just so far, you know what I mean, that they're technically basically they're like center right ish kind of center ish. They're not really left wing, but Democrats are more left wing, like socially speaking, right? But yeah, what you're talking about is right. But I mean, actual leftists, they created, critical race theory. They created intersectionalism. That's the feminist theory. It's about like
Yeah.
black women and how they're women, but they're also black and all of that bollocks. And that is a way to like combat like systemic shit. Like the Democrats don't even want to admit that systemic racism is real. They would say there's some bias, but they won't admit to it being their fault. Do you know what I'm saying? But
Hmm.
the left will, and they would say that they want to combat it using this and that. But Republicans, then even further right people, people like Tucker Carlson on Fox News, they'd say that, oh, they're pushing this on us in order to make white people hate themselves. But it's like, no, white people aren't going to hate themselves. White people are the richest motherfucker. There's everything is good about being white. What the fuck is there to hate about being white? They're not going to hate themselves for being white. There's not a single. You can meet the most libtarded, like begging on their knees. I'm so sorry for slavery. White person. You ask them, would you ever be black? And they'd be like, no, because that's the shit, man. Like anyone would be white. You know what I mean? And so
Yeah.
fucking all of this theory about
I
how
don't
they're
know.
trying to make.
I've met some white people who like been through shit, like shitty situations. So I don't even think that like, oh yeah, white people are the most richest,
Oh no, of
fortunate
course
people.
there's poor white people. I'm not saying there aren't, but I'm just saying they're
I'm
generally
not even
more.
saying like there's poor like white people. I just think they're not the most fortunate. You know,
Mm.
the most fortunate people are actually Arabic,
What? No,
maybe
but I mean,
Chinese.
no, but I mean like people that are in America like the longest, which are the natives, blacks,
Oh yeah,
and
yeah,
white
yeah.
people, right? So they're just the three, and who I guess Jews as well kind of fall into that, like the four main like
Slightly,
demographics of America. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Yeah, and Latinos I guess kind of count, but they're obviously lumped in with black people. They get treated the same way as black people do, despite the fact that they've been in the country for like way less years. Like you hear the way racists talk about black people, they be talking about them like fucking, um, like they never even existed in American history. We need immigration laws to protect like the native people. They mean like white Americans. Most white people came to America in the 20s. They're all the black people that are alive now. Their ancestors were in America before most white people came to America. So it's like, the fuck are you shiting on about? Like, you know what I mean? Well,
I understand what you mean, but I think the immigration laws are just like something different about that.
like what? There's nothing different about that.
Like as far as immigration laws goes, like I'm totally for having a closed border in America, honestly.
No, but for real, it's a long history of these same kinds of people wanting non-white people out of the country. They literally forced black people to go to Liberia and create like a whole other country in Africa because they hated black people so much. And you know who did that? Lincoln, I think. Like even though he emancipated the slaves or whatever, he was still pretty racist. You know what I mean?
Nah, the reason why that happened was low key because Lincoln freed the slaves, but like a good amount of people were like, a good amount of the slaves were like, let's go back home
Mm.
right now, please. And Lincoln was like, fine, I don't care.
But they don't know where home is. Like if you think about it, like
Of course not. They've
Americanness is
been
like
gone
woven
from
into
America.
black people. Like what kind of surnames do you fellas have? Washington, Jefferson. Like why do you think you have that? It's because your fucking great grandmothers were like raped by these two fucking dickheads, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, and you know what I mean. And so obviously you're like the children of them. Like you're more related to like America. This is pretty much just your country. Most black people couldn't even tell you what like part of Africa they came from because they don't know. That was taken from them. All of that was taken from them. That information. White people kept that. White people, I know some American white people. They can tell you like the medieval fucking kings that they're related to, like Charlemagne or something. Like you know what I mean? Like it's
yeah,
crazy the difference. Like black people hardly know their great grandparent, usually, and white people know that they're fucking related to like King Solomon of fucking Israel like 2,000 years ago. Like you know what I mean? Like it's fucking crazy.
yeah,
But look, listen, man, you're a great fella. I like you.
yeah. You do
You're
know.
you're smart, man. You're smart. I hope like if are you on this usually, yeah, or is this like a one
Yeah,
time
I'm
fucking?
usually on here.
So I hope I'll see you again sometime because you're actually smart. You're actually able to fucking talk about shit. Like
Yeah,
some people are just stubborn. They
you know,
don't
I
want
fuck
to
with people
fucking
like
listen
you
to like
who
shit. You
just
know what I mean? Hmm?
yeah, I fuck with people like who you who just like they're willing to listen to the other side and um I'm always the type of person that I'm willing to listen to the other side of the argument too. I don't take my information from just one source. I just like hear it and then I'll go to another person and be like, all right, so this is your opinion? All right, cool. Go to another person. I like meeting people like that
Of course, man. Of
because
course.
then you have a more broader understanding of how the world works and how the world should work.
Here, man. Listen.
Because then it's gonna be because I think of it as like then it's gonna be people like you and me who are gonna run the world, not
What?
in like a stupid like, oh yeah, maybe I don't know, maybe you could be the president of Ireland or something.
No, I get you. Here, man.
And
Listen. Listen. What's your name? I didn't ask it.
oh yeah, my name's Deshaun.
Deshaun. I'm Eric, man. Listen. I have a YouTube channel, yeah, like where I talk about shit like this. Look, I write it in for you, and you just like type that shit in. It's like the red one,
I'll
with the shit with
subscribe.
the goat or the sheep in it, like the fucking profile. Like.
Shady sheep.
Mhm.
It's funny because you're Irish.
Uh-huh.
They have a lot of sheeps out there.
Mhm.
I went to Ireland one time. It's pretty. There's a lot of greenery. It's weird for me
Oh
because
no,
I'm
of
used to
course, man.
seeing.
It do be like that. Like you know what I mean.
I'm used to seeing like big tall buildings everywhere in America. So when I went to
The tallest
Ireland at
building
one,
in Dublin's 14 stories, man. You know what I mean?
bro, I was like, yeah, and that's where I was at. I was at Dublin. I was
Yeah,
like, bro, ain't much going on out here. I should live here. People like me. Everybody don't call me black.
yeah. That's the thing. Like they just say like American. Like you know what I mean? Yeah. Did you find
Yeah,
it?
they just look at me. They hear my accent. They're like, "Oh, you're American." Yeah,
Yeah.
not a. I'm not African American here. Oh, shit.
Of course, they don't divide them, man. They don't discriminate like that. Like you know what I mean? It's fucking nice, man.
Yeah,
Did you find it? Yeah. By the way.
I'm searching right now. Shady sheep.
Yeah.
Is this it?
Shows it. Yeah. Yeah. That's the stuff. That's the one.
Gave it
That's
a subscribe and
yeah.
I hit the bell.
Yeah, and hit the bell as well, man. You know what I mean? I do be talking
Yeah.
about like stuff like that. You know, stay tuned. There is like a fucking videos that like I'm planning about, like you know all the shit that we were talking about, like where I go more in depth about. It's just I don't really have time to obviously describe everything. But look now, listen, man. Good luck to you with everything and your prospects and
Yeah,
all of
you
that in
too,
your life,
man.
man.
You
Of
too. You
course.
should start a podcast though.
Oh
Do you have a
yeah, I will.
podcast?
I will. I will. I will. But look,
You should
listen,
start
man.
a podcast.
Mm. Good luck to you anyway with everything. God bless you. Cheers. What a great fucking fella. Love talking to him. I love talking to lads like that. You know what I'm saying?
Lads, please like and comment. That would really help the progression of this channel. Thank you.